what's going on, everybody? How's it hanging? How's it happening? You guys know what it is. This is Kevin from the Chord Progression Podcast. The podcast on Soul Magazine describes as the one that initiates profound discussions with rock and metal artists, allowing fans to cover the creative workflow of their favorite musicians and understand the factors that make the band succeed or fall from fame. We are also sponsored by Dark Fusion Systems, the best for your custom computing needs. Get $100 off your entire building code CVPod at darkfusionsystems.com, which is podcast below. We are also number 21 ranked podcast on metal podcasts on millionpodcast.com. So we good at this. We got a ways to go to get to number one, though. We're going to get there. Now it's time for a feature presentation. We're going to get sad. We're going to get ska. It's Sad Ska coming your way with the band Horizon Point coming to the podcast from Manicat Records. They got a brand new EP that's due out some point soon. Name, release date, TBD. But we not only go into the backstory of the band, but also how much they focus in on bringing mental health issues to light and how they are blending ska and emo together. Beyond that, just really creating this overall eclectic sound due to their eclectic backgrounds and eclectic taste in music that creates something that really fits in with that idea of this music can go anywhere and we're going to love it. You guys ready? Let's go! Yeah. Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, listeners of the Chord Progression Podcast. We have been all across the way when it comes to rock and metal genres and subgenres on this podcast for the past 6.5 years. I do not remember if I've ever brought on a band that has had ska at the forefront, calling their own style Sad Ska for fans of No Doubt, Save Ferris, Less Than Jake. Ooh, yeah, Less Than Jake. That's definitely one that you're going to be like, I got to check out this band if they're going to be for friends of like Less Than Jake. Hell yeah. Formed in 2021 in response to the COVID-19 pandemic. The band currently has a couple of EPs out there. Their debut LP, What If It All Works Out, came out last year. And they're working on a brand new EP now with Manicat Records. So you can get sad with us. You can get happy with us because it's ska music. So hell yeah. Please welcome Adam, Jen, Jordan, and Raul from Horizon Point to the podcast. So everyone, welcome to Chord Progression Podcast.
Yo, thank you for having us, man.
Thank you for being on. Thank you for being a part of the musical world. How is everything going in everybody's world today? As you know, we're coming to the end of summer, unfortunately, but that doesn't mean the good times have to stop rolling, right?
No, totally. We're just getting started.
Yeah. Oh yeah. True. Working on recording stuff right now, and actually, I had the privilege of seeing Primus last night in concert. Might I say, phenomenal show. One of the best shows I've ever been to. So very lucky in that aspect of life right there.
You lucky man. Last night, but before we shot this, I got to see it was Boundaries and Stick to Your Guns. And that's why the Stick to Your Guns t-shirt is currently rocking.
Nice.
Nice.
Yeah, we're pretty eclectic when it comes to our music taste. So
all music, yeah.
I was saying, because we've already heard Primus in here, even though Primus sucks. So we got a lot of other tastes around here. If you're saying you're eclectic, so okay, if we got Primus in here, what are some other like artistical tastes that everyone has here, so we can really get a feel of that eclectic inspiration that has come into what is Horizon Point?
I mean, I love more of like the Midwest emo stuff. So like Hawthorne Heights, the Screamo, Census Fail, stuff like that. That's like that's my bread and butter right there. Early November, stuff like that.
Heck yeah. Raul, you're a big Red Hot Chili Peppers fan.
Yeah, I am. As you can see right there.
Just a little.
Right. So like in this band, Horizon Point, I play trombone mostly, right? But like I also play bass in a lot of other groups sometimes, like I'll freelance and stuff. And then my main style is definitely, as Adam can probably attest to, it's just that like I like to play a lot of funk bass, so I'll be slapping the bass a lot.
Nice.
Hey, nothing wrong with that. Got to throw some funk into some of the sad ska kind of stuff if you can, especially even if you're just primarily playing trombone. Throw a little bit of that in there if you ever get a chance. Just add more to the eclectic nature that is this sound overall. Yeah. Again, ooh.
Honestly, we love pop punk. We love, like all the different waves of ska too. Like that's all part of our influence, I'd say as well.
100%.
But, like the emo vibe, we try to interject as much as possible. The sad ska thing was initially kind of a joke. We were like, we're ska, but we sing about some sad, depressing shit sometimes. So what can we call that? And Raul was like, I think sad ska.
Yeah.
So we just
Kind of latched on.
So it's sort of a joke, but it kind of describes our music well because
Yeah.
it sounds happy, but a lot of the time we're talking about some other type stuff, mental health related things, especially.
Yeah.
So that's a big part of what we do.
But those are things you have to talk about too, especially in today's day and age, just if that's really where you want to go with it. There's never enough music to be able to cover the basis of being able to talk about it. There's a lot of topics that are going around the world, a lot of things that especially get overshadowed in a 24-hour news cycle. So being able to keep those things that are important to you in the forefront of your music, of course, is going to be as important as ever. So it does fit in with that like emo kind of style of just where the idea for the lyrics comes from. Into ska, you really don't want to say emo ska because it doesn't roll off the tongue, or Midwest emo ska. It just, again, doesn't have that like intricate pop to it. But sad ska, it just is like, that's it.
It's the
Yeah,
brand.
well, like the other thing that people will call it sometimes, which I personally hate, is schemo.
Oh no.
I just cringe inside when I hear just the word. It's like, you know, certain words sometimes just like you don't like the way it sounds, like moist. I hate that word.
I could say what it sounds like.
Schemo is one of those words for me. So, you know, if people call us that, I'm just like, oh, just call us sad ska. That's better.
I hope that doesn't happen.
The schemo sounds like I should be crying over a breakup while trying to beat someone's high score in skee ball and failing miserably.
Right? Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
That's where my brain went. Like,
Yeah.
So if anyone ever calls you like schemo, just try, like, you should maybe have like a little mini like skee ball thing at the merch and be like, if you're gonna call us that, you have to break the high score while crying.
That's brilliant.
Hey, get a free merch item while you're crying and playing skee ball.
You know what's really funny though too is like sometimes, well, you know, like on our posts and shit, like we'll hashtag sad ska, you know, because we're trying to like make a list of all the different things we've posted. But turns out sad ska is a town in the Czech Republic too. so if you search the hashtag sad ska, it's us, and then it's like this random ass town in the Czech Republic.
I have to look this up right now, and literally, sad ska is a town in the Nymburk district of the Central Bohemian region of the Czech Republic. It has about 3,300 population.
We stand with sad ska.
It's official.
I think we know that like maybe a goal of yours over the next, by the end of 2026, because by the end of 2025 might be tough, but is to go to Europe and play a sad ska show in sad ska.
In sad ska, yep. Let's make it happen. You heard it here. You just make it happen.
There'll be a lot to talk about.
There'll be a lot to talk about, but one thing I do want to get more people into with Horizon Point is, of course, you as a band, you as a whole, and really get to embrace who you are. And nothing helps us embrace who you are like knowing your backstory. So when it comes to not only forming the band, but forming this sound overall, how did that all come into play? What's the story behind that?
Loaded question.
It's very rich and complex. We have like layers of like how our band got together. So like I personally came a little bit later, but Jen and Jordan, you know, you go ahead and, you know, like talk about the intro and like the groups before that.
Well, so Jordan and I are both therapists. So we're both mental health therapists. And during COVID, I think like everyone was really, really bogged down, right? Like we all really struggled a lot. And Jordan and I had been doing a lot of acoustic singer-songwriter gigs, you know, in our local music scene. And we just got really burnt out with doing that. We weren't able to do a whole lot of that with COVID, with the shutdown and everything. And so that really gave us a lot more time to focus and return to our roots as musicians and really try to, you know, define for ourselves, like, if we were in a band, what kind of band would we want that to be, you know? And so initially, we just started off like, you know, we recruited one of our friends, his name was Greg, just to play drums for us. I was on bass at the time and Jordan played guitar. And so we just kind of went for it and just started seeing what we could all come up with. And yeah, it was kind of like, I don't know, just a little bit of a rough start there. But then over time, we just gathered members, you know? And so now currently I'm on sax. So I'm playing saxophone and singing in the band. And we got someone else to do bass for us, who is our our friend who actually recorded our first LP, and he did an awesome job. And then like we just got kind of close through that, and he, you know, was at a place where he could join and wanted to play bass in the band. So then, you know, Adam came in, our old drummer left, and Adam came in and really just like helped to shape our sound quite a bit with all of his influence. Yeah, and really just collectively, I think it's come together. It just sort of happened organically, I guess, and we're cool with that. I mean, ska has always been something that I've really loved, so that's been my like mission is to try to make the band like a little bit more ska. And at first, well, I wouldn't say at first, but we like many ska bands sometimes that dabble in other genres gets criticized for not being ska enough sometimes. So people are like, oh, they're not real ska sometimes. So that's always been like really funny. Because we dabble in so many things, so people sometimes don't know quite where to place us, and it's just sort of more of a unique thing. Yeah,
that's true. Yeah,
yep. But
been through a few member changes, but it's good. We have a joke like every time a member, well, not too many, like we're on like HP 5.0 right now, but the current lineup is pretty sick. So I'm grateful for my bandmates, you know.
The one thing I'll say, the one thing I understand, especially when it comes to ska music, is there seems to be that like it's either you're ska or you're just like not enough ska no matter what. You're never gonna fit into like that specific thing unless you're full on ska, like what Catch 22 was, or like what Real Big Fish was, or what like Less Than Jake is, or the Muddy Muddy Boss Tones. Like you're never gonna you have to have like a certain level to be recognized, and if not, then like the ska community is not going to fully embrace you. But whatever other styles you're going to dip into, they're not going to fully embrace you either because they're too ska. It's like it's a weird thing that kind of got put in there. But then again, you take a look over the past couple of years, especially within the rock and metal scene, especially in any kind of heavy music scene, there always is much more of this openness to just interpretation, openness to experimentation that we're seeing with bands popping off. Like, I mean, especially on the heavy side, Spirit Box, Bad Omens, Sleep Token, hell, even Knock Loose. Who thought a hardcore band would be, you know, like almost headlining festivals at some point in time, and next year going over and playing as a support for Metallica in Europe. Like, how the hell does that happen?
Yeah, I mean, that's a crazy
people are. I'll say, but people are definitely open to more rock based or even more metal based music with that differentiating feel in there, or just that experimentation feel in there. So you might have found that perfect point in time where you don't have to be like enough ska to be accepted by the ska people, but you can have it in there, and the rest of the music community is going to be like, we are open to actually listening to this now instead of being so gatekeepy and so extremist on having to be a specific style.
No, you're 100% right. Like you hit the nail on the head. Yeah. There's a lot of like old school gatekeeping in ska, and I find that really ironic because the whole genre is about unity and like equality, like the black and white. Yeah, like the black and white checkerboard pattern is literally, it stands for racial equality, like black and white together, you know? And so there's a lot of that like the genre was founded on back in Jamaica in the 60s, and that, you know, carried through like in the UK in the 80s, and then brought to America for that third wave of ska with, you know, Real Big Fish and Less Than Jake, like you mentioned. And so, so now there's a whole lot of genre blending happening, and I think it's awesome, but some people really don't like it. Some people are very like people are offended by that, you know, because it's not traditional. But I think that if any genre is going to progress, that's how you do it, right? Like that's how we make new music. That's how we keep things interesting and alive. And like now I think ska we need now more than ever. You know, there's a saying that goes around in the ska community, ska now more than ever. And I think that's a genre that we need because it is really focused on a lot of like social justice topics, you know. And so now more than ever. But you either like us or you don't. That's totally fine. I'm happy with having haters because I feel like if you don't have haters, you're doing the wrong thing. So
I stand by that.
Yeah, that ska is the evolution of ska, you know. So it's like, what's next? You know, like we can't just keep doing the same old stuff from back in the 60s or 70s because, well, it's just staying back in the past, and nobody like Not a lot of people listen to that kind of stuff nowadays. Like it's a lot of, like Jen was saying, a lot of genre blending, a lot of genre mixing. Like, like, sure, like we have some ska parts, but we got like a lot of punk, a lot of emo, maybe even some funk here and there. Just like it's just the evolution, and that's what I love about this band, because like about this band, we all have a lot of different influences and a lot of like just a lot of things from our backgrounds, and we all come together and we collaborate and we make some badass music. I mean, I believe that. Like our latest single, "Bending Truth." Oh man, that song's a banger. I love blasting that song. Because of the message. Because like I'm not sure, Kevin, if you heard our latest single, "Bending Truth," but on that song, the main line is, "I'm so scared, but I want to get better." Well, I feel like that's incredibly relatable, because like whether or not people like to admit it, everybody's scared. Everybody's afraid of whether the past, the present, or the future. But the difference is that, what are we doing? The difference is that we need to get better. I personally want to get better. I want our band to get better in many, many ways, musically and like collaborative wise, and like all of us just like coalesce and bring all of our ideas together.
Yeah.
And spread positivity.
Yeah. Yeah. No, totally. Yeah, like the whole idea behind the song is right. Like the story of the song is that it's about a relationship. It's about two people in a relationship that have trauma and that have like difficulties from their past that sort of haunt them in their day-to-day life, and how that makes it hard sometimes to be a good partner in a relationship. And so the characters sort of are talking about their struggles and things that they go through, and that they want to break that cycle of trauma for themselves, but it's fucking terrifying. It's hard to do that. So I'm so scared, but I want to get better. And again, like Raul said, it's when we wrote that line, we're like, shit, maybe this is something that everybody can relate to in some way. Like, if you're in any kind of transition in your life, or just going through whatever, and so it's my own little mantra for myself when I'm afraid to take the next step in something, or, even like joining the label, there's all these risks that the band has taken too. So it's scary, but we just want to keep improving.
Definitely.
I don't know if you guys have seen the podcast before, because eventually I was going to end up getting to Bend the Truth and dive deeper into it and ask that exact same question. But Raul jumps in and just takes it over. And then here comes Jen just going, all right, here's the meaning of the song. Let's have a blast with it. You guys took away all the questions from me.
I'm sorry, bro. I mean, Raul, you just went for it. So I was like,
did you see the script, man? What? No.
I'll say I never
talk more about gatekeeping. We can get back to that if you want. That's totally fine.
But I mean, we can. But I definitely want to jump into Bend the Truth for sure, because then it shows off more of your music, and that's essentially where the conversation was going. We go with the flow here. And I mean, having that mantra of like, I'm so scared, but I want to get better. I think a lot of people can really dive deeply into that and really understand that a little bit more, especially coming from, the therapist side from both Jen and also you, Jordan, as well. Because from a lot of people's perspectives, they say they want to get better. They always are talking about how they want to get better, but there's always something that's kind of blocking them from that. And it could be fear of what's going to happen from their past if they try and get better, or fear of the unknown. Or I think there was even a song from the new Stick to Your Guns album from this year. I was listening to it today, and there's a line there talking about it's not a fear of the unknown, it's a fear of the known ending, because you're comfortable in that known potentially. You just know what to expect, and to get out of that, it's like, now that's over. And especially if you're comfortable in it, or you're doing fine in it, but you still want to get better, now it's like, okay, now I got to end that, but you don't know exactly if it's going to get worse or if it's going to get better. So you're freaking out over it. But if you continue to want to get better, you got to take that step. You got to take that risk, and you got to just be able to just have that feeling to go forward with it. But really with Bend the Truth, with those two characters, what I really liked the most about it though was when it came to the verses. In the first verse, it was one set of vocals, but in the second verse, it was the opposite gender set of vocals. So you really got to see it from not only both the perspectives of, male and female, but you got to see it from the perspective of two different people at the exact same time going through the exact same thing, whether it's completely different situations or might be the same situation where they both feel like we're scared about this, we want to get better, even though it's a breakup and it's like we're trying to figure out what to do here, and might be bending the truth to try and maybe make the other person look like the bad person, make us feel better, but we're doing it because we're scared. We don't know where to go and we're trying to get better. So it's all about kind of going forward in that realm of figuring out what to do next in order to actually better yourselves instead of staying in that past of potential just stagnation.
Yeah. You got it, man.
True.
And you're
you
right.
Hit the
like
nail on the head.
The vocal thing with the, like the dual vocals, that was very intentional. Like we wanted to create that feeling of like, there's a conversation happening here, And at the end of the song, like that's like the inspiration for the title. There's a line that I just keep repeating over and over again, which is, I will promise you that I won't bend the truth. And so it's kind of funny because the song title, Bend the Truth, is actually the opposite of what the message is at the end. It's about like being honest, showing up, being honest, being authentic in a relationship or just in life in general. Like I'm not going to bend the truth, So I'm not gonna lie. I'm just gonna show up as I am, in whatever capacity that is. But yeah, so it's kind of interesting. There's so many different ways to perceive it, and we've gotten like a pretty great response as well, for the song. So we're just grateful for that. We're grateful that people get it and take the time to listen to it. And it's just been awesome. And the collaboration with Manic Cat has been great too. They've been really supportive of us and like what we're trying to do. So that's also been really helpful.
I'm not really surprised that you guys have been getting a good amount of reception off of this song specifically because the message does stand out in that regard, where during times of, maybe like a breakup like that or trying to figure out how to get better, people will take that time and maybe bend the truth in order to make it seem like they were the ones that were wrong and not necessarily take accountability for themselves trying to get better. I've seen it before. I've felt it before myself. And it wasn't until you actually taking that accountability of, okay, there were times where, yes, objectively, the other person was the one that was in the wrong. But objectively, at other times, I was the one that caused this. I was the one that didn't do the right thing. So being able to actually realize that and take accountability for that, then you can actually move forward and you can do better. You can promise that you are going to be the one to do better and not bend the truth anymore. And it's going to set you up for success in your life, whether it's just just trying to get better or just creating habits for the long term later on. And even when it comes to that like sad ska style, it has that innate sad emo part to it, just with the message, with the way the vocals work, with the way the tones go. But when you juxtapose it with that ska feel, that ska bounce, it takes that feeling of like, okay, is this like a positive thing or is it like, what are we talking about here? But it shows up that this can be a good thing. This thing can bring a good amount of positivity to your life, but it's like you have to accept it into being a part of it. And that's what's beautiful about ska too, because it has that feeling of positivity, even though at times there's a lot of bands that talk about maybe negative things with their ska music, but it brings forward a positivity in life. And why wouldn't gatekeepers want something like that? I mean, come on, it's a beautiful thing.
I think so. Well, this song too specifically is more ska heavy. Some of our other songs, they're more emo heavy, punk heavy. Like there's just different qualities. So in the EP, it'll show a bit more versatility of our style. The other songs we're working on right now, getting recorded. So we're excited about that too, just for people to really hear kind of where we're at now musically.
And hearing the next steps, like our evolution, like from my perspective, just as a band, I feel like we've grown a lot in our songwriting ability and like our musicality has improved. And I think from all ends, like we are just trying to, every time we write a new song, just try and put out a better product in just overall that we're going to enjoy, that the people are going to enjoy, that at the end of the day, we just want people to feel something from it. Because for me personally, music makes me feel like nothing else in this entire world. And, I want to be able to, as well as the other band members, want to be able to portray those types of emotions through these songs to help people feel these things that they need to feel. Because whether that be a a song that you can cry to, or a song that makes you just ecstatic, or you know what I mean? Just like music has the ability to just shape your emotions like nothing else can, I feel like. And I think we want to be able to just make real good quality music that people can just feel something from and get something from it.
Yeah,
definitely agree.
totally, man.
So that does make a lot of sense, because when it comes to like anybody that is really in tune with music, whether it's all four of you, myself included, music is something that just enhances life overall. Whether you're just listening to it on your own, or just while you're at work, while you're at the gym, while you're in your car, or especially when you're at a live show, it enhances the emotion, whatever you're feeling, whatever you want to feel in that moment. Let's say you went through like a tough breakup and you're in the car and you're listening to some of the saddest songs you can think of. It's going to enhance that, maybe that negative feeling of heartbreak, but it's going to force you to feel those emotions so much more vividly that you're not going to bottle them up. You're not going to run away from them. It's going to help you heal from them faster than you would if you would just try and push it to the side. When you need to get that amped up feeling in the gym and you need to break that PR, and you put on some like Stick to Your Guns or Big Ass Truck, you have a good time with it and it just hits a different way. Or when you just want to just, as my brother and my best friend would always do it, when they're on their motorcycles, they love to put on ska music as their playlist, because they said nothing is like riding down the highway on a motorcycle and all you're hearing is a bunch of trumpets, trombones, and fast-paced fun in your ears. It enhances what life can be. That's why movies have soundtracks. That's why there's people that create scores for movies, to enhance the emotion and enhance the experience. And you guys are enhancing the experience of people's lives through your music.
100%, man.
And this is a song that, like, someone could play. Again, it's not even just about relationships. Like, let's say, like, you decide, like, hey, I want to get sober. And, like, you're just like, hey, this is day one. I'm scared, but I'm going to do this. Or maybe, like, you're on your way to the first day of your new job and you're terrified, but you're like, this is the next step for me. Or, it could be anything. It's just really about making progress for yourself. So, we want people to be able to explore it in whatever context makes sense for them.
Yeah, 100%.
Again, the beauty of music, it doesn't have, you can write about one thing, but it can be interpreted in so many different ways to impact people's lives. You probably have written many songs that have a very specific meaning to you, but you've probably talked to people after shows or at other shows that you've not only played at, but been to, sitting at the merch table, and they've come up to you and explained like how much a song meant to them. And in your mind, you're like, I didn't write that song about that, but it makes sense.
I love
it. To them, they connect with it on
that's the best
way.
part. Yeah.
That is such a treat when somebody can do that. There's a song that we have, it's called Take Your Pills, and it's about taking your meds, your psych meds. And we've had people come up to us after that song, or after we play that song, and they're like, oh my God, like, I'm always telling my partner they need to take their meds, like, this is the song like that I'm gonna sing for them now. Like,
that's funny.
Like that. Or they just relate it to their own lives. Like, one person came up and like had like a medical condition that they were going through, so it had nothing to do with like any kind of mental health related medication, but they related to it because they were going through a health issue in some way. So I think it's interesting how people interpret the songs and they kind of put their own spin on it. I love that. I think that's the best part,
Definitely.
It's okay to take your pills.
Breaking the stigma with that one. We do that a lot. I think the mental health components, we're trying to break the stigma of the whole negative side of like, that's taboo, like taking pills is bad, therapy's bad, but it's not. And I think there's still a lot of misconception around that, like, oh, like this person goes to therapy, they take these pills, and it's like, it's not always a negative thing, right? So just trying to I guess spread the word on that, I guess I'd say.
Well, and the fact that there's still a huge stigma around it, no matter what part of the life you are in, whether it's, you're not it's like taking pills for, whether it's something that is more of a mental issue or more of a physical issue, maybe it doesn't matter what kind of issue it is, but there's going to be some sort of stigma around it where people hear it's like, oh, you're taking medicine for X condition, and now you're getting looked at like, it's like they're less than 100% or they're less than a full human. So constantly not only bringing that up and talking about it in your music, but constantly being advocates for it. That's the way the stigma is going to be broken, is when it comes to creating a new, like a new way of thinking about it, or not only necessarily a new way of thinking, but a proper way of thinking about it. It's something that has to be talked about. It has to have that open discussion, because if it's just left to a very secular spot in society or a very small portion, it's not going to be something that's going to be a consistent topic around dinner tables or amongst friend groups. It might stay taboo, it might stay under wraps, and someone who is actually dealing with that and could use the support could be suffering silently because they don't feel they can actually talk to people that are close to them about it due to the fear of what judgment might do to their overall mental well-being at that point in time. So constantly bringing it up in your music, constantly fighting for it, it creates a space and creates more of a way to have that conversation to break that stigma apart.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, thanks for saying that. I really appreciate the understanding there on it, because it's like, we don't judge people, like we don't judge diabetic if they need to take insulin, right? It's like the same thing. Like our minds have chemical imbalances, and that could be genetic or could be based on, like trauma that's happened and how that's manifested in our life. It changes our brain chemistry. So, it's like, why would we like get upset with someone for taking that kind of medication? It's really the same thing. Our body is connected to our mind, so yeah, we're huge advocates for that. So we appreciate you giving us a space to talk about that as well. It's part of what we do.
Oh, you're very welcome. And I assume on the upcoming EP, there's going to be more discussion around these topics going forward, right?
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
100%.
We have a song that's about grief, and the experience of like, it could be interpreted as like trying to stay sober when you're going through a loss. Someone passed away or some other really significant loss, and just trying to maintain from that transition. So well, we're all over the place with the topics, but they all connect to this larger umbrella of just ways to take care of our mental health and just breaking the stigma around that experience. Yeah.
And again, it's continuing to create that space. It's continuing to build up on other topics that people might be necessarily not the most comfortable talking about, but because they're going to hear it in your music, because they're going to hear your message going out there, they might feel more comfortable talking about it. They might be inspired by it because they know that someone out there understands to some level. And by understanding at some level, we can have a conversation and we can build off of that. And when it comes to the new EP too, I know you said you wanted to not only expand on that, but also step out and evolve even more on a musical sense. So what more can we expect from the new EP in a musical sense? What other ideas were you exploring here?
Do any of you guys want to take that from a musical perspective?
Well, I can say a few things. Okay, so a lot of the big differences from like our current music, what we're doing compared to the last project. Like Jen, obviously, is on saxophone now, and then we have Blake, our producer, who's not here right now. So like me and Jen have been like getting together a lot and like making horn lines that sound freaking awesome. It will make melodies, and then we'll also make like counterintuitive melodies at the same time. And then and besides that, like we also have like a lot of like rhythmic and like genre switches now. Maybe I'm not sure. I'm not gonna say what kind of switches, but we do have some switching going on there. Like maybe people will call us, "Oh, you're not ska," but hey, it's in there.
Yeah.
But
we just like to make music.
Yeah. Like we just like to make music, and then I have a lot of background like in music theory. Like I went to school for that, and so like I like to incorporate like a lot of like different kind of like sounds that normally aren't like just like front and center. So like I would hear something and I would try to implement it. Something that comes to mind mostly is that we have a song. I don't think I can say the name right now, but we have a very fast paced song. It's darker. There's a lot of ska going on in it. We have a couple genre switches in there, but we also have like a lot of like unison sync hits going on, and like I'm like, okay, good. So like, so this way we could get a little bit tighter. We could get a little bit more like finesse, a little bit more variety in our music instead of just playing straight through. You know, it's like verse, chorus, bridge, verse, chorus, but like spice it up. You know what I'm saying?
More
Have
dynamic.
some variety.
Dynamics,
Yes, add some
yeah.
dynamics.
And
Yeah.
all of us have all of us have good input too. Is another huge thing is that
Yeah.
as a band, if not everyone can speak their piece and not everyone can speak their mind about what needs to happen to maybe change a song for the better, and whether it come down to a band vote or or just try it out and see if we like it. And we've done that like countless times throughout the songwriting process, and it's just like it's good for everyone to get off their chest what they need to get off their chest or what's in their brain, and and I think that musically we've grown a lot in that aspect too. The fact of being able to communicate as a band, that's like a super
Yeah.
underrated part of being in a band. Is like yes, everyone in the band can play an instrument, but like it's about how you can bring it all together and making it one cohesive unit. So I really want to like just say like musically we've been able to grow so much because we've been able to come together and all give input about each other and letting each other know
Yeah.
how we improve in certain fields.
Yeah,
that's
like
been really good for us.
I would say that the style of our music and how we're very mental health focused, it's echoed in our internal process too. How we write, like we try to be very equitable with each other in terms of collaboration. Like so in this EP, I would say that there's much more progression of our collaboration together. Like everyone's really a multi instrumentalist and a songwriter, and so we all bring different things. Like for Ben the Truth, like Adam, our drummer, he's the one that created the main like riffs for that song.
Yeah.
So like there's all kinds of stuff going on like that you wouldn't necessarily know if you just looked at our band from face value, but we all really do contribute a lot to different parts of the songwriting that maybe it's not even the primary instrument that we play. And we've gotten really good at that, and we've gotten really good at being able to communicate, like Adam said. I think so. Like just even about if there's something not necessarily musically that we're not like feeling or we have to change, but even just in our group dynamics and our teamwork, and like if somebody's kind of struggling or seems off, like we want to talk about it. If somebody's not pulling their weight, we want to talk about it, but we all just kind of like get it out there. And I feel like that is very different than a lot of bands I've seen or been in. We have like pretty badass, awesome communication, I'd say. I'm proud of us for that because it's hard. And I'm not saying that it's like, oh, like we're just good at it, like it's easy for us. No, it's actually really, really hard sometimes. And so just because we make an effort towards it, it doesn't mean that it just comes easy. So
yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I will definitely say
have like no, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say piggyback off Jen, just like that we're all songwriters in this band. So it's cool to see like how different songs, like how we all contribute to the songwriting process, whether instrumentation wise, lyrically, singing. And I think that's really cool because that helps us be more eclectic and just again like not just with genre meshing, but just overall like just it's really cool to see like how we can collaborate, like true collaborate in that way. And I think that we're able to do that because all of us are like songwriters at the end of the day. Like that's a lot of our our inside.
Yeah, and we really want to like merge these genres, maybe create a new genre, So like what would it feel like? What would it truly feel like sonically to hear a song that truly integrates like emo and ska, Like would it have I don't know, like little emo lead guitar parts, like a breakdown in it? Would it, like would there, how does that work? Like we're asking ourselves these questions, and we're trying to answer them through the music that we're creating. So it's just been interesting. And sometimes we comment on our songs lyrically about kind of the 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 way that other people might feel about our music or just see us, you know, like the haters. We kind of poke fun at that or make comments about that sometimes too in our songs. Yeah.
If you're not poking fun at the haters, you're not having fun with it, then what's the point? But
yeah,
I think I'll say I think your style of writing, I think your style of creating music makes a lot of sense when it comes to you never know what might come next, and you're always open to the idea. You're letting everybody dictate where the band goes. You're being open to different ideas of how this might come together. Who knows? You might create the, you know, sad ska genre to become a very popular thing. We might get sad emo guitars with a bunch of trumpets, trombones, and saxophones. Who knows? Like what Raul was saying, we might get a couple of ding, ding, dings, and then a huge like chorus line of horns into a massive breakdown. I have no idea what to expect on this EP. All I know what to expect is that there are going to be ideas that this EP has that you came up with and that you explored to see where your sound could go, and that's what's exciting about it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
That's the best way you could put it. Yeah. I mean, it's just, I really feel like it's just going to be us, like just showing our creative abilities off, you know, and it's only going to get better from here. So,
yeah. And then the plan after that is to just work on touring for a while to promote it all. So we're going to be hitting the road after all that comes out and just be traveling and hopefully coming to wherever anyone wants to listen to it.
You got to hit the road with some of those like Midwest emo bands and just take part in some of those crazy shows and just add that to the whole entire aesthetic of that realm. Just really get that whole entire like sad ska moment in with that Midwest emo crowd. Ooh.
Kind of,
I know a lot of people don't like that.
In there a little bit, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I feel like we can fit in with a lot of different. That's the cool thing about just having the eclection we have, because like when we play shows, like we could definitely we fit in with pop punk, we fit in with emo, we can fit in with harder rock or ska bands, and that's cool because I feel like there's a lot of other bands we could fit in with more times than not than if we were just doing one thing. And so I think that's pretty special in itself.
Definitely.
You're giving yourselves an opportunity to be seen and discovered because you are just being who you are. So keep on doing that. I know the EP's been coming out soon. Not sure if we got a release date yet, but I know we're running out of time. And I got one last question for all of you before we wrap this up. Are you ready?
Yeah.
It is one of my favorite questions to ask at the end of every single episode. Been doing this for 2 years, asking this question. It's a way for us as music lovers to get to know more great new music and for you to get support the music you love. There are 4 of you, and I do not want to go overboard with this, so I'm unfortunately going to have to limit it to 1 answer per person, okay?
Okay.
But the question is, can each of you name me a band or artist that you love that you would love to see more people get into right now?
Okay.
Oh.
All right.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, yeah.
Hope Jan doesn't say the same band as me right now.
No, I'm trying to think of one that's different. I'll go first, though. There's a great band out there that's doing something kind of similar to us, but they call themselves Brass Emo, and their name is Millington, and they're really great. They're from upstate New York. I would definitely check them out. They're also trying to blend these genres. There's a couple bands that are doing similar things out there. Millington's one of them. They're on the up and up. Check them out for sure.
I'll throw one out. I'll say Abracadabra. They're a relatively known band if you know, but if you know, you know. But band out of Brazil. They've been around for a super long time. Just put out a new album this year. It was really good, called Pack Your Bags. So Abracadabra.
Hell yeah. Jordan.
Well, I'm in between because, I'm going to say this is an artist. I mean, they're already pretty popular, but they're not like mainstream. This artist that I really like, they're called Nothing Nowhere, and they do a lot of genre meshing from, emo and trap beats to hardcore and like breakdowns and metal. And so that's an artist that that's always been that's one of my favorites. So, and a lot of people still, even though like I'd say popular, there's still like a lot of people don't know who that is. So that would be my answer because I just love the genre meshing. I love artists who are gonna, just go for it and just be like, oh, what genre is this? If you don't know what it is, that's awesome to me. That's great. It's like cool. So,
Okay, for me, I will say a band called Catbite. They're also a ska band, kind of like us. Would you guys consider them sad ska? I mean, I think I would. It's just that the biggest difference is that they don't really have horns, but they do a lot of like genre, like fusion genre, combinations, like a lot like us. They're smaller bands. I'm actually Jen, I think they're from Orange County, right?
No, Catbite's from Philadelphia. Yeah.
Philadelphia.
They're great. They're very interesting. Their musical style is very interesting. Definitely,
they're great.
Ska.
They're opening for Less Than Jake on their tour right now for the.
Yes.
Oh, they are. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. They came out with an EP too just now, and it's amazing. Yeah.
It's awesome.
Check them out for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we got 4 great suggestions, and a 5th great suggestion is checking out Horizon Point. That is a great 5th suggestion.
There you go, Kevin. I like the way.
Thank you.
See, always got to give the plug, and now we're going to give the plug even more as we bring this episode to a conclusion. I've got 3 things for everybody. First things first, when it comes to Horizon Point, they've got a brand new EP coming out some point in time, some point soon. And you got to be ready for it, along with getting ready for more great sad ska music. They got plenty of music out there right now for you. You're going to want to follow along with them. Go to the description of the podcast where it says Find Horizon Point Online. Links and labels for everything from social media, where you can find the music, where you can listen to it, where you can go get some merch, and where you can go see them play live, hopefully at a show near you sometime soon, especially after ZB comes out and they go out and tour. You're going to want to see this so you can not only feel the emotions, but also hear some great horns in there. Yeah, said it that way. It's going to be a good time.
Thank you so
Now it's time for number 2. Whenever I've guested the podcast, I join the podcast, I tend to make a certain promise, a way to say thank you. I appreciate you taking the time for joining us here today, and I wish to continue support in the future. And I want to make sure you guys get out of the show in the Midwest, hopefully here in Milwaukee, so we can make good on this promise, because the promise is a when. When I can see you perform live for the first time, I'll come and find you all. I'll come and say hello to you all, but that's not the real promise. First round's on me. That's the real promise.
Yeah.
Thank you, dude. Yeah.
Awesome.
You're awesome. Thank you, Kevin.
Oh, you are very welcome. So let's make it happen. That's why I said when, because we're going to make it happen. Day or time, we just don't know yet. But now it's time for number 3. As we bring this episode to a conclusion, I cannot end this by saying goodbye. This was a great time having you, a great time getting people to know about you. I would love to be back on again in the future, along with making good on that promise. So goodbye is too final for something like this. We'll end it by saying, I'll see you later.
Okay, man.
I love that. Always.
See you later, Kevin. Thank you for having us, man.
Well, folks, my interview with the band Horizon Point. Now it's time for Kevin's final thought. And I'm glad they talked a little bit more about the mental health aspect and breaking through those stigmas on their music, and continue to do that, and continue to do that throughout the episode as well, because it is something that, yes, we are seeing more artists talk about. We're seeing more people talk about online and in our daily lives as time goes on. But there's still a lot of stigmas around certain things as well. And do those stigmas have sometimes negative responses, have negative consequences to them, to not only the people that they are affecting, but the people around them? Yeah, they absolutely do. And in order to break those, like I said, we got to continue to talk about them, but continue to create those spaces where people can comfortably talk about them and connect over them. And that's what Horizon Point is doing with their music. We saw it on Betting the Truth. We're going to see it on other songs that they have coming up as well. You can see it throughout their past. And yes, it's going to create a little bit of a different sound, especially if you're blending emo and ska together. But that's just something that is kind of cool, and not gonna lie, when in a world where so many different artists are blending genres, and we're really seeing a lot more creativity come to light, creativity that we've been begging for how many years in that rock and metal scene. Yeah, and we're getting it. Let's see where they can go with this. Let's continue to get behind them and see where this music can evolve. I want to thank the band for coming to the podcast today. When it comes to finding Horizon Point, go links in the description of the podcast below. We have everything for where you can find them online, where you can listen to music, where you can get some merch, and find and play a show near you, hopefully soon. Please also follow us in the Chord Progression Podcast in the link strip podcast below. We're on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Please hit the like button right down here. No, that's the subscribe button. Yeah, subscribe button right down here if you're on YouTube. Hit the subscribe or follow button on Spotify and podcast. Hit the like button on those episodes to help push us in the algorithm and get more and more people to know about the great artists in rock and metal today. I want to thank everyone for coming to the podcast and enjoying us And that's me. Thank you very much for listening to the Chord Progression Podcast. My name is Kevin, and you guys know how I end every single one. That was big, healthy, and hearty. See ya! Yeah.